And first of all, before I call our meeting to order, I'd like to welcome you to be here tonight. We always welcome good crowds. And I will call our meeting to order and ask you to stand for the invocation by Ms. Hood and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
That's great. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for each and every person that's here. We ask that you bless us tonight in making wise decisions for the district. We ask that you bless all those here who have made such great accomplishments that we're going to recognize tonight. Be with our teachers and students as we start a new school year. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next item is approval of the agenda, and I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Wilson, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hood, ready to vote? All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Next item is minutes of the June 24th meeting. You were each emailed a copy. Do we have any additions or corrections to be made at this time? Hearing none, we're ready to vote, so I need a motion.
Also moved.
Mr. Hayden, motion second. Ms. Burgess. Ready to vote? All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Okay, Dr. Young, would you recognize our press and our guests, please?
Mr. Lee, make it. But we have a lot of folks to recognize tonight. From we got some students from all three of our high schools. We got some students from RTC at Palmetto High School. We've got some different student athletes from Wren and Powdersville. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wilson so we can recognize those students.
First of all, I want to start with recognizing, before I get up, the ROTC unit awards. Just want to read a couple of these, and then when we're done with that, I want to recognize these individual students. But first, Air Force ROTC unit, South Carolina SC 942 at Palmetto High School has received the 24-25 Air Force Space Force Junior ROT Distinguished Unit Award with merit. With merit signifies the excellent standards rating received in March of 2025 from the headquarters of Air Force JROTC unit evaluation. Palmetto High School has received this distinguished award for 18 years. That's one. Second, for the 10th consecutive year, Air Force Junior ROTC Unit SC 942 from Palmetto High School has earned the Air Force Space Force Junior ROTC Silver Star Community Service Award. Only the top 5% of all Air Force JROTC units receive this. That's 42 out of 828. So this is the 10th year of that. And then today we're going to be recognizing some individual students, but there was also a unit award that went with this. 2025 Southeast Regional Cadet Leadership Course Unit of Excellence Award was awarded again to Palmetto. And this will be the 9th time and 5th time in consecutive years that they've won anybody award. Yeah. So the group that we have here today were recognized for individual awards at the Southeast Regional Cadet Leadership Course. And I'm going to go over and get some information. And I would like to recognize Lieutenant Colonel Creamer and Master Sergeant Livingston. I'll bring y'all up here in just a minute. They are the brains behind this group, and we appreciate it. If I could have Ms. Upton, I'm going to ask Ms. Burgess from that area to come up, and Dr. Young. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your award and then ask you to come up. I'm going to give the award. If you'll get, when you're done, just stay up here and we'll try to get a picture, okay? While they come up, I'll wait. Outstanding Quality Assessment Cadet Award, Micah Booz. Outstanding Flight Award, Bravo Flight Best Personal Inspection Award, Best Overall Personal Inspection Award, Bravo Flight Best Regulation Drill Award, Bravo Flight Outstanding Basic Cadet Award, and Best Overall Outstanding Basic Cadet Award goes to Wesley Brocklehurst. I don't want to left any awards for you.
He told me he's got one more. He's got to add to that next year.
Congratulations. Thank you. All those are his, yes, ma'am. You got all those. Exemplary Staff Cadet Leadership Award, Best Female Cadet 1 Mile Run Time Award, Savannah Burdett. Congratulations. Alpha Flight Outstanding Basic Cadet Award, Best Female Basic 1 Mile Time Award, Alpha Flight Best Personal Inspection Award, Sophia Burgess. Outstanding Flight Award, Cadence Copeland, I don't believe she's Outstanding Key Staff Award, Emma Creamer. Bravo Flight Best Room Inspection Award, Outstanding Flight Award, Elizabeth Boots. Exemplary Staff Cadet Leadership Award, J.C. Sauter. Those are all the awards we have. If all you guys would come up here in uniform and Lieutenant, y'all come up, let's get pictures for this. Congratulations, y'all. You did a fantastic job. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Yes, please.
No, we're gonna have to. Some people might come in front.
Right, well, that's fine. Sure, we'll
I don't think anybody would question this is if this is not one of the best JROTC groups in the country, for sure. And if you guys, if y'all want to, y'all can either stay or y'all can take off. It's up to y'all. I know we need your space. If you want to stay, you can. You're more than welcome. Y'all can stay.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Next, we have the pleasure of hearing from some representative athletes. These are all state champions that we have a chance to spend some time with. We're going to start with Powdersville individual state champions from track. And the first one would be Grace Davis with the 100. Grace here?
Yeah, she's coming.
Congratulations. Look at that. Get a picture.
Y'all want to do this.
Oh,
Awesome, guys.
And we also have from Powdersville High School, high jump champ, Peyton Johns. And also from Belleville High School, discus and shot champ, not you, but it is Will Wilkerson. Just so you know. We'll make sure. Coach Anthony O'Shields, athletic director Robert Buster, and principal Adam Linford, all are part of this, but we're very proud of this. We also have some state champions from Ren, and we're going to start with Dahlia Ross. Right here. Congratulations, Dahlia. Great job. Congratulations. We have Caleb Beasley. And, not here, I just want to we want to congratulate Jackson Jurabak for pole vault. And then Coach Andrew King, Athletic Director Stan Yarborough, and Crystal. Thank you all for doing it. We have one other group we want to recognize. Gentlemen, if y'all would come in this way. Thank you. Come on in. Y'all come in. Y'all just come on. You have entering the room the Creative State Championship boys soccer team. Congratulations. Coach McCall and Coach Hirsch, let me tell you, Brody Pike. Brody, you here? Brody was recognized as Region Player of the Year, which is a huge honor. And our coach, Coach McCall, was the State Coach of the Year for AAA. So congratulations. If you want a picture of you guys, congratulations.
All right, hold on, one more.
Before you leave, guys, we just ask, tell us your name and what year you are, just so we know who you are.
Corbin Butler, and sophomore.
Ethan Peel, senior. David Saunders.
David Saunders, junior.
Jackson Anderson, junior.
Alden Stafford, senior. Garrett Stunt, junior.
Cooper McCall, sophomore. Curtis Putnam, sophomore. Trevor Pressing, senior last year.
Jed Turner, junior.
Judd Scribner, junior. Jackson Meadows, junior. Brody Pike, junior.
Jeremy McCall.
Randy Hurd.
And y'all also may leave and hang around. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate it.
Jeff, we on practice? I'll keep it right. We're trying to take it to practice. No, that was your Google.
As they walk in, I just want to say, we get a lot of times accolades for academics here, y'all know. We got great progress.
See ya.
And y'all know, I don't know, like me, sports was the reason I stayed in high school, because I was not the strongest athletic kid. And I know these kids were honest, some of these kids will tell you that, and I can promise you, ROTC changes kids' lives, and we do that. So I'm really proud of these folks and what they did, and glad to be able to bring it for you. And I'll turn it back over to Dr. Young.
and to follow up on what Dr. Wilson was just saying, that we celebrate academics a lot. We just recognized some student athletes and ROTC, but in August, Ms. Upton and I were talking, we're going to hold our meeting in Powdersville because the chorus has been recognized with the state award, and their band has been recognized, and we can't even fit a soccer team and parents in this room. So if we're going to have members of the chorus and a band, we're going to have a bigger room. So we're going to probably have to meet in Powdersville somewhere in August so we can recognize some fine arts students. But looking forward to that. We have one more group of people we need to recognize. And as you can tell, Miss Brady is not here tonight. She is out of town, but Miss Tollison is here in her place. And Miss Tollison's got a handful of folks that are going to introduce themselves to us.
So we have two teachers that we would like to recommend for hire. So we're going to have them introduce themselves. And then we have two folks who are joining us that were on previous board agendas and didn't have an opportunity to make it earlier. So they wanted to take the time to come and introduce themselves and meet you all. So I will turn it over to you folks. Craig, will you start us?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Craig Suglia. I'll be teaching special education, hopefully teaching special education at Palmetto Middle School. I attended Palmetto in 8th and 9th grade before moving to New Jersey, and I'm happy to be back home in the best district in the state.
I'm Sarah Nicole Cornell. I will be at Palmetto Middle doing 8th grade science. I graduated from VHP down the road, but decided to come up the road and hopefully join you guys. So I'm excited to be here too.
I'm Melanie Smith, and I am at Concrete Primary as one of the speech pathologists, and I'm coming from Anderson School District 5. I'm very happy to be here.
She gets an extra pat on the back because she walked into a construction zone today, but as she is right now, everybody up there is smiling. I'll show you guys some pictures in a little bit, but our folks at Concrete are really truthers this week.
I'm Christina Landreth. I'm coming from Greenville County, and I'll be at Spearman Elementary as one of the sophomore teachers.
Thank you all very much. Thank you to Ms. Brooks and to our administrators for working hard to make sure that we recruit and keep the best here with us. So thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Upton. I think she has something to share.
Yeah, we just like thank y'all for coming tonight. Thank you for being a part of the best school district in South Carolina, District 1. You're welcome to stay with us, but you're not required to. So at this time, you're free. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Got one really dedicated ROTC.
Yeah,
She's a mama's girl. Don't ever let her fool you. She is a mama's girl.
Okay, Dr. Young, we'll go to the next time. Superintendent's report.
Yes, ma'am. Before we get the financial report, as you know, today was our teacher's first day back at work for the 25-26 school year, and we got to visit several schools. And when we get to the instructional report, I think Mr. Miller's got some pictures of folks being back at work. But next Tuesday is our first day of school. We're expecting around 11,000 students. And we just continue to get more and more students enrolling each and every day. So we'll see what that number officially lands on, and we'll be able to share that official number with you at the August meeting. But we're excited for the start of school. In your packet, you've got your financial report, and you can see the local funds for each of our schools. And as always, if there are any specific questions, please let us know. One thing I do want to point out for middle and high school, Mr. Thomas and his staff and I have been working with the high school principals and athletic directors to come up with some solutions for travel and security at our athletic events. So we're hoping that I think we've talked about some of the ticket revenue not being as strong, especially at Palmetto and Powdersville with the change to the new region this past year. So we're really trying to work with them to make sure that we set them up to be successful, especially our 3 middle school programs. The other thing, Coach Muster at Powdersville and I have worked to negotiate with Riddell to get some updated helmets. And so you may see some new helmets, but we're going to be getting new helmets over the next 5 years at all of our high schools, and then we're also going to be able to get Riddell's going to be helping us with our middle school helmets as well, getting those refurbished to keep our student athletes safe. I know y'all made a big commitment about 7 years ago to make one big purchase, and that ended up being about $100,000 if you remember. But rather than having one cost at one time, we were able to get a deal for the next 5 years so that we can kind of cycle that in and update them as they come, because that football helmet only lasts 10 years, whether it's used or not. So we needed to go ahead and start doing that. But that's one thing, as you see the athletics accounts, this is that time of year where they get kind of low, but then during football season, they'll start to recoup. But I wanted you guys to know that when you're looking at the local.
Who was the previous helmet? Cardell?
It was.
So it has the data.
Yep, same data, and they continue to update that. And it's actually a former Anderson Warren football player that is the rep that's helping us out. So
Do the coaches use that data?
yes, they keep up with that and use it as best they can.
And what's the enrollment number that for high school data? Is it the start of school, or is there a certain day to?
They pull 135th day number for that, and then this year coming up will be another reclassification year, and we'll see where everybody lands.
Yeah.
Next, as you flip through to the blue pages in your packet, you see our investments. You see 47 CDs with a total investment of around $10.67 million that accrued over, a little over $290,000 in interest last month. And then you see our food service, 2 CDs, almost $400,000 with $4,300 in interest. Page 3 is the total investment accounts. You can see the different accounts. Page 4 is the backups, pages 1 through 3. The following page is the backup to page 4, and the backup to page 5, backup to page 6. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Thomas.
All right, thanks, Dr. Young. If everybody would turn in there to report 2022 building fund, subfund 502. Starting there in the first section there is our revenue, and you can see the total there is 38.6 million. And then our expenses down below that are at 36.8 million, and it brings our current building program balance to just a little over $3 million. Below that shows our projects in progress as well as completed projects. The 2 ongoing now, as Dr. Young mentioned earlier, concrete primary, and then of course Oak Hill Elementary. All right, the next page is our local option sales tax report, subfund 515. This is a little bit of a different month because it actually has, we actually received 2 payments. We received March and April collections in the month of June. Anderson County as a total received in a little over 7.2 million. Anderson One's percentage of that is 33.5%, which equated to a little over $2.4 million. 20% of that is for property tax relief. That netted out $490,000, and the remaining 80% is for capital use, $1,963,000. Below that kind of recaps the balance of this fund, beginning of the month at $23.1 million, plus revenue and interest, less expenses, and then the transfer to the 502 building program fund leaves our ending fund balance at $19.5 million at the end of June.
Travis, when we started this, I think we were at 30-point-something%, right?
Maybe even less than that. Maybe 28, 29, I think.
Yeah.
And we are slowly but surely. Anderson 5 is coming slightly down in percentage, and we're going up. So we're kind of looks like we're going to meet around that 35, 36%.
I agree with the surely.
Yeah. So if the trend continues, it won't be long, and we may be possibly be the largest. So we'll see when that happens, when and if that happens. All right, our next report is our revenue report for school board. And that shows all of the revenue accounts. At the bottom shows our totals. Revenue for the month of June ended up being $9.3 million. And then revenue received year to date is totaling $115.1 million, which that meets our budget of slightly over $114 million, and then surpassed budget slightly, so it puts us at 101% collection rate. And just keep in mind that even though 6/30's here, June 30's here and gone, we still have our year-end entries, still have accruals going on, so we still have a little bit of movement that'll happen there as we close out the year. But as of now, that's where we stand, really good shape revenue-wise. And we'll follow that up with our expenditure report, which is a 2-pager. Second page has our totals. Expenses incurred in June ended up at $16.2 million, and expenses year to date, and don't panic yet, but ended up being $116.6 million, which looks bad on paper for a minute, but I want you to keep in mind, if you look at the next to the last column, that's 710, the fund modifications. If you remember earlier in the year, the board agreed to shift $4.3 million of our fund balance towards our building program. So that $116 million includes the $4.3 million. So once we take that out, which we would need to, it brings us down to $112.3 million, and more in line with where Anderson One likes to end at the year, about 98.5% on the expense side. So our goal is always to try to, if we can get the revenue to be just a little higher than what we budgeted, and try to keep those expenses about 1% or so under. That's kind of always been our goal. And keep in mind that there's still some year-end entries to make, but again, in good shape, and that is without using the fund balance that we put in there. So that's ended up being a really good year. That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
So just to, he tried to slide it in there, but with last year's budget, we allocated $1.9 million out of the general fund to balance budget. We're not going to have to use any of that. And actually, once you account for the transfer to the building fund, I think we're even going to be a couple $100,000 below that. So definitely thanks to Mr. Thomas and Finance Department for helping us navigate that. So good job.
Good news.
The other thing in the financial report in your packet, you have our procurement report for our minority vendors, sole source, your emergency procurement for you to review that we have to provide to you every 6 months. So if there's anything that you have questions about, I do want to point out there's one charge that's $220,000. That's our student Chromebooks that we bought this year, just so you know that one really big purchase. If there's any other questions that you have in there, please let me know, but like I said, we have to provide this to you every 6 months.
Any questions? Okay, go ahead, let me know.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moore for our instructional report.
Thank you, Dr. Young. I feel like I've accomplished something when I don't trip on the extension cord right there. I'm already on a roll. I hope you are doing well. I have kind of several things we're going to get to, and Ms. Tollison is going to join me here in just a few moments as well. Before I provide our update on summer reading camp, we've got some great feedback to share. I did want to go back to something that Dr. Young mentioned earlier, and that is that he encouraged us at the district office to go out and be a part of welcoming teachers back. And so on the screen in your packet, you have some pictures from events today. And I just wanted to brag on our school leadership for just a moment. They have quite the job welcoming folks back and getting people on the same page. And we really challenged them this year to be intentional about sharing their North Star. And we talked about that with you last month. and they did an incredible job. I was able to visit 3 schools this morning, and it really was a great thing, and Anderson wanted to hear common language and goal setting and that North Star terminology throughout the district. And so you should be proud of our school leaders and the job they did being very intentional, welcoming our teachers back. There was fun, there was games, but there was some seriousness and some goal setting, and again, some visioning that was really taking place, and we're very proud of our folks. So it was a great start. I am going to quickly run through our summer reading camp, and I'm going to step over here because I forgot my glasses, and you're about to find out how blind I really am. You are aware that we have a summer reading camp for 3rd grade students, and it's mandatory. It is part of legislation, and there were some extra parameters put on us this year that made it what I thought would be a little more difficult, but I think we wound up looking pretty good, and you can help us be the judge of that. But really, this is focused on 3rd grade students and ensuring that they have the literacy skills and foundation they need to be successful. And so 3rd grade becomes a critical year. Now that's expanding to 1st and 2nd grade in the future, but we focused on 3rd grade this year. We are required to provide the equivalent of 96 hours of instruction in reading. And then just a couple of, I guess, changes and things for the board to be aware of. One is, it used to be that when you were a student and you scored the very lowest level on our state test, SC Ready, did not meet 1, that you would be identified as going to summer reading camp. This year it was anybody that scored did not meet. And so that obviously means you're identifying more students potentially that will be required to attend our SRC. In addition to that, we have these good cause exemptions. And in your packet, you have a list of those. I'm not going to go through them all, but these are, if I'm a student in 3rd grade and I scored did not meet and I'm identified, if I meet one of these good cause exemptions, then I can be promoted. But if I don't meet one of these good cause exemptions, then I'm retained. One of the good cause exemptions we used to have was something called a portfolio or a lap folder. And that was where our teachers and our schools could provide evidence throughout the year and present that to us at the district office to make a decision to promote a child even if they didn't score the appropriate score. Well, that lap folder, that folder, that portfolio assessment was taken away as a good cause exemption. And so I want to just share with you, first of all, it was hosted at Spearman Elementary School. Mr. Leslie did a great job welcoming us and making sure that we had rooms ready. Judy Griggs there did a great job making sure that our folks were trained and ready to go. But it was a great experience. We had great attendance. Out of the 62 or so that received invitations, I went back and confirmed this. Our average attendance was 44.5, and those weren't all mandated to be there. We had actually single digit in terms of students that were required to attend summer reading camp, which is a great number, and I'll get to that in a minute and speak to that. I do want to share that we also have a great partnership with United Way and our YMCA, and we have Camp IROC, as Pickens County does well, and this is our version of it. So after summer reading camp is over and we've learned and we worked hard, the afternoon became the summer camp environment. And they had on-site field trips, but they also got to go to the YMCA and swim. And for some of those kids, it's the only time they've been able to do that ever in their lives. And so it's a great experience for them. So it's a great partnership, and that Camp IROC, I think, helps keep that number solid throughout the entirety of camp. And so it was a great experience. Our teachers worked hard. We had, just thinking out loud, we had 2 certified teachers in each classroom. So we had 2 teachers for every 15 kids. We had a separate group that worked with ML specifically for part of the day. It was very intentional, and I think you'll see that in some of the feedback, that we received. Let's see. So here's what you need to know. We had 73 3rd graders at our final count that scored did not meet. By the way, if you do the math on that, that's less than 8% of 3rd graders in Anderson School District 1 that scored did not meet, which is, when we look at data later with the board, that's going to be pretty good. And so we're proud of that, and you should be too. But those are still students that we need to work with, and we need to make sure we're doing a good job supporting. Of those 73, at the end of summer reading camp, all but 3 were covered by one of those good cause exemptions. The 3 that were not will be promoted. We had individual meetings with the State Department. They gave us guidance and agreed that based on the evidence that we provided, that promotion would be appropriate. And so that means that we didn't have any forced retentions in our district. Now, we had a few retentions that were agreed upon by the parent and the school, but none forced through the summer reading camp process. And so those are great numbers, and I think evidence that we've really worked hard at the elementary level, looking at our standards, but not only that, our MTSS process has improved. And so the science of reading is something that you've heard a lot of. I think we see that taking shape in Anderson 1, and it starts at those foundational levels in reading. So I'm proud of our folks for going through letters training, digging into the MTSS process, and truly identifying student by student, skill by skill, what they need to be successful in the area of reading. And I think that shows in the data. I do want to mention some of the feedback because we accept feedback to grow. This is also feedback to confirm. And so for us, Sandy Maddox, who's our literacy specialist assigned to us, said this. I asked her, I said, hey, I'm presenting to the school board soon. I'd love to have your report. Well, it takes a while to get that report out to folks. So she said, I'll send it to you. But she said, Brad, it doesn't sound as great as the real visit was. And I thought that was phenomenal. We received a rating of full evidence in every area scored on the monitoring tool that they give us, which is the best you can do. And I thought this just helped kind of sum it up for us and for you. The day was carefully planned to offer the needed instruction. Students were divided into classrooms designed to meet their needs, and foundational skills were emphasized. That's what summer reading camp is all about. Meeting those students where they are, providing those skills, and just encouraging them as well in a very positive environment. So I want to brag on, again, Spearman Elementary School. I want to brag on our teachers that gave of their summer and worked hard to support those kids. And I want to brag on our literacy coaches. I have the honor of working with them a lot, and they pour over this and give of themselves a lot to make sure that this is top notch. And I think Anderson 1 is recognized as having a great summer reading camp. And I can't move forward and turn it over to Ms. Tollison until I talk about Create, because we talked about our well-rounded students and the success that we see in our district. And so we have very talented students in the arts as well. And so at Spearman, we hosted elementary art and music Create. And you can see some very talented teachers that get into it and love it. But you can see our students that are able to have a 2-week intensive period that culminates with a concert and an art display, and we invite parents and we invite administrators to come and support them on that day. And then I also want to put a plug in for Miss Haley Nichols at Wren High School for our secondary art. And I've linked this, and I'll get Dr. Young to send this out to you. But this is an incredible online portfolio of some of the work that they completed throughout that 2 weeks in Create. So just a lot of positive things, I think, from this summer. And we continue to work to find ways to improve in that. But just proud of Anderson 1 folks, and I hope you are as well. Before I turn it over to Ms. Tollison, I want to make sure there are questions or things I can clarify.
I'll just add, if you're able to come to our opening meeting on Friday, you'll get to see the students perform, and then there's going to Ms. Nichols, you mentioned the secondary, they've created this mural that's going to be on different canvases to represent the different feeder systems. So there's an ASD1, there's an ASD1 mural, and there's each one represents the Palmetto feeder, one represents the Wren feeder, one represents the Powdersville feeder, and then one represents the district office that the students help create. And then teachers are going to be able to help color it in, and we'll display it in the conference center at the new school when it opens up in the spring. So looking forward to that, but that'll be out too for you.
Well, I put a plug in for one more thing, looking at Ms. Burgess, who understands we're putting on professional development tomorrow across the district. And just say a prayer that that goes well, because we got a lot of teachers in the building ready to learn and grow, but it's always quite an eventful day. So tomorrow will be a big day for us. All right, Ms. Tollison has some information to share about our induction teachers and induction week.
This is always a fun week for, I know Ms. Brooks, but also for us. You all have seen us introduce these folks to you, and now they actually get to get into the schools. So while some people are still on summer break, they start a few days early for us. This is a great group. We have 31 induction teachers. You can see Dr. Young's in the middle. We've got Mr. Moore over there, Carol Brooks. They get to hear from our instructional technologists. I love the fact that we have wonderful teachers in our district that support and provide professional development. So they got some training on classroom management strategies. One of our behavior specialists came and spoke with the group as well. Everything that we could do to try to prepare them to be successful on day one. This is a high energy group. It was fantastic. They also got to, on one of the days, eat lunch with and meet their mentors, and they do a really fun activity. So it allowed them some time to connect before they started in. The middle picture, our schools do a fantastic job. They will create baskets for each of the teachers. And so when they come in, they're welcomed with, a lot of them will prep, like maybe they get a shirt or a hat or something that goes with their school and their school colors. Ms. Brooks has been working with our schools to do that, so that's been a great thing. But we really enjoyed having them, excited to get to know them more. They will be attending other sessions throughout the year. I do want to give a shout out to our finance department because they were able to work really hard to get checks in the hands of these folks who haven't had a paycheck, Dr. Young, all summer, correct? And they're trying to get classrooms ready and pay rent, and so they really worked hard to make sure that they got their checks to cover the days that they were up here. So thank you to those folks as well.
They used to get paid rolled into their August paycheck, and they worked to make sure they got paid in July for working this week in July, because that's a long time ago.
Yes, it is.
So it was really a big undertaking, and I know that a couple of them actually teared up when they got their checks handed to them. So that was a really good thing they did.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Okay, Dr. Young.
Next on your agenda, it says the student nutrition report, but I actually just verified with Mr. Dopkins, and we didn't have any meals in July because so we don't have any report, but we will have an update in August, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Wilson for the administration report.
Thank you, Dr. Young. We have a couple of policies that we will look at for final second reading, but first we have a new policy. It's the policy probably at the back. JLKCG, that's the Seizure Safe Schools policy. All the red is what was recommended by the state board, and you can see after you guys had a chance to look at it, we had a couple of recommendations for changes which don't really affect anything as far as the content. One was you can see where we marked through, and then we changed the word adequately to reasonably. So that was the only change, and that's for your perusal for a month, and if you have any questions, you can ask me, and I'm certainly willing to talk to you about that. The other two policies, one was ADF, which is the district wellness policy. It is just as you saw it last month. This is just a policy that's required with some changes from the state. Nothing really big in that one. The one that I kind of bristled at a little bit last time, I don't love this policy, but it is the law. Animals in schools, particularly the area that dealt with definitions and admissions of service animals, and that nothing changed except on the very back page, the term housebroken was changed to house trained, which I think is a more current appropriate term. So if the board is good with what they've seen, I would like to ask for approval for policy ADF and policy IMG.
Okay, for Dr. Wilson's recommendation that we approve policy ADF and policy IMG. Do I have a motion? Ms. Dawson, do I have a second?
I see.
Dr. Neal, any further discussion?
Yeah, I just something jumped out at me about this service animal.
Yes, sir.
Am I reading that right? Additionally, the district will not request proof of current vaccination immunizations as a condition of access.
And I questioned that both with the folks at Senate and actually talked to our attorney, and that is the federal law. I can ask of that of folks that bring other animals into our building, but not a service animal. I
Flies
was-
in the face of
Yes, sir.
everything that's logical.
Yes, sir.
It came out the federal government.
Yes, and we do have a couple of instances we're dealing with that, and we're meeting with folks to make it clear that they have full liability over anything that animal does, or if they do not get them, which is required by law that they have rabies shots, that even though we can't ask for it, it's required. If something were to happen, they're responsible for that animal. Yes, sir, unfortunately.
Any other questions?
Is there anything that could be provided for anyone who would have a service animal? You know, basically informing them, okay, this is going to be your responsibility to maintain these records, that kind of thing, whenever it's presented to the school for them to have that in the school setting. Are they issued anything from the school or school district stimulating?
We've got to be careful what we issue them, but what I'm doing is meeting with anybody that has a service animal, going over with them, and I'm going to ask them to sign off on liability. They understand that they're liable.
Right.
They could refuse, and probably legally we couldn't stop the animal from coming. But at least I can document the fact we met on this date. I provided them the liability that they have with that animal based on what the law says.
Right.
And that we didn't ask them any specific questions about any of that training or any of the things it doesn't allow us to do. But that's anybody that brings that we know that, I mean, some folks will bring service animals in that I won't know about, but if it's an ongoing, I definitely will know about that, whether it's a teacher, an employee, or a student. So we will definitely meet with them and make sure they understand.
I just want to make sure we're covered, you know, liability speaking.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure we're covered, that we're addressing that with people who's going to bring
Yes,
the
sir.
animals in.
We'll meet with every one of them.
Okay, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, if you'd show it by the uplifted hand. That is unanimous.
Thank you. And my final request is, if you remember last year, there was a proviso that now requires any parent-teacher organization and or booster club to be approved by the school board. We have about 9 of those that you have in your packet. These are the ones that have come in. Some don't meet until school starts, so you'll get another full packet in August of more booster clubs. But the ones that have already met and elected officers, we're asking you to approve those for this year, and I'll bring the second batch in August.
Okay, we've got Wilson's recommendation that we approve these, parent organization, booster organizations.
Are they in?
They were in our.
I know they were shared with you.
Yeah.
They were in our.
Email back.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, I was looking for them in
No,
here.
they're not in here.
Okay, I didn't see them. Okay.
You want to list those?
No.
Okay.
I was just looking for them.
Okay, all the.
I make a motion to approve the.
Second. All those who are ready to vote, those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Thank y'all.
Okay, item E.
Got our construction update. I got a couple of pictures, and I figured it's easier to look at some things on the screen. So, I told you I would show you a couple pictures. I sent you this picture last week. This is the front entrance of concrete. Today, what you can kind of tell, if you've ever been there before, there's a lot more room here under this awning for the car line, and then this is wide enough now to double stack, so that will help us quite a bit. The traffic, we still have a partnership with Siloam for them to let us use that parking lot, but hopefully this will help alleviate some of the traffic on Powdersville Main. And starting next year, when enrollment's not quite as big, that'll be a big help. This is a picture of the front office this morning. You can see the floor here. We'll have some furniture there, but they have like a formal reception area. If you'd ever been in the main office at Concrete before, it was basically a table that you could walk up to with a phone on it, but they've got a nice reception area. I was talking to Ms. Vargo today, and she said she feels official because she's got a nice setup there, but it's really nice. You also see there's a restroom right here, so that if parents are having to wait, they don't have to go into the school where students are to use the restroom. There's a restroom right here in the reception area, which is nice. I sent you a couple pictures last week, but now you can actually see the classrooms are starting to look like classrooms to welcome students. So this is one of the teachers with her room set up. Then you can get a close close-up view of some cubbies and the cabinets that are there. Teachers, even though that they've got some professional development, the teachers at Concrete have required letters training from the state tomorrow and open house on Thursday. I was in that building today, and the mood was just so exciting. And they walked in, and a lot of their stuff's still in boxes. So they have to figure out how to arrange their room, but people are just so excited because of how nice it looks. I should have thanked some of the soccer players when they were here. I thanked a couple of them out in the lobby. But some of them were up at the school today helping move furniture. The basketball team was there helping move furniture. The baseball team had some folks there moving furniture. And there were some football players helping. So there were kids in the room helping set up desks and get things set up for those teachers so they could get ready to welcome parents on Thursday night and students next week. But if you get a chance and you want to stop by and see what it looks like, it's definitely worth walking those halls because it looks like a completely different place.
Dr. Young, you've got another student in the room right now who did a little wire pulling.
Oh, yes.
Just FYI.
So the intercom and all that, you did all that.
There for the final inspection.
I'm impressed.
Make sure it happened.
This is the attendance area for Powdersville, and what Ms. Tollison and Mr. Moore and I were talking, they were both previously principals in the Powdersville area, and people don't realize that the Powdersville attendance zone goes almost all the way down here to Piedmont. So if you're familiar with River Road, it goes a long way down. I just wanted to point out that is a large area, and the reason I think it's important to point this out is there are lots of developments out this way going between 85 and River Road that are being built. And there's also a lot of growth going towards Pickens County that has already been approved and houses are being built. So I just wanted to show that to you as we kind of talk about the attendance lines. I've shown you this picture before. You've got Three Bridges Road and Highway 81, and I think from about 1970 to about 2005, developers thought that you had to put every neighborhood between those two roads in the area. They're finally realizing there's other parts. But as we tried to finalize what we wanted to do for the enrollment and the final attendance lines, we did know that these were some natural barriers right here that we could use to kind of define where Concrete was, where Powdersville Elementary was, and then where Oak Hill is going to be. Oak Hill is being built right here in this intersection right here. We wanted to try to have as similar enrollment as possible. We wanted demographics to be as close as possible, but we also know we need to leave room for growth. I think at times we've built schools, and within like 3 or 4 years we were having to build additions and things like that. So we want to give ourselves some room for additional growth because we know that more growth is coming. So this is kind of a picture of a proposed group, and it's hard to kind of see the detail, but I just wanted to show that, again, the Oak Hill is a really big area. Concrete when you look at it on a map, is a smaller area, but I want to remind you, a lot of the houses that are in Powdersville and that have been in Powdersville are between Three Bridges Road and Highway 81. So I want to zoom in so you can see in more detail, and I sent you this map, but you can see Highway 81, and some of the map looks a little bit funky because you got to go around some of the neighborhoods. And then there's a little bit of a section on the other side of 153 that comes to Oak Hill that they'll be able to go across River Road to get there. And you see how these two neighborhoods here. So the next slide kind of makes sense of this map. Basically, if you live along the Highway 81 corridor and your neighborhood dumps out on the Highway 81, you're going to be zoned for Oak Hill. So the only thing on the Concrete side of 81 that's going to be zoned for Oak Hill is these two neighborhoods right here. It's Kensington and Jameson Place. And then on Three Bridges Road, if your neighborhood comes out on Three Bridges Road, you're going to be zoned for Concrete. And what that does, and I'll show you the numbers at the end, is that tries to keep our enrollment somewhat close. It leaves us some room for growth at all those schools, and it evens out some of our demographic numbers. The other thing about the picture is it's going to limit the number of families that have to cross 153 to get to one of our schools. And if you are crossing 153, you're going to be using River Road to get to Oak Hill, and then there's some other back roads like Row Road and other ways that you can get to Powdersville Elementary School if you live up towards the Pickens County side. This gives room for all three schools. The capacity for the approved growth that's already been approved in Powdersville, so we feel like we have room to grow. And the other thing that I think is important is you see concrete's a little bit smaller than Powdersville and Oak Hill, but that's going to allow us to continue to put our hands on some of the rooms that did not get remodeled in this first remodeling that we just did this summer. And we won't have to like close down parts of the building. We can do some stuff for the updates while we're in school. The poverty numbers are, we played with some different scenarios, but the scenario that we landed on, this was as close as we could. This is very similar to what we have in the rent attendance zone, where Spearman's poverty numbers are about 50%, Wren's are just above 40, and Hunt Meadows is just below 40. So it's very similar there, and you can kind of also see our ML population. So I would ask that kind of using the Highway 81 and Three Bridges Road, I would ask the board to consider this proposal that we have put out there. If you have any questions, anything you want to clarify, but if there are no questions, I would ask that you guys consider approving this proposal.
You've heard Dr. Young's recommendation that we approve elementary attendance lines in the Powdersville area that for Oak Hill that will be effective July 1st, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Greg, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hood, any discussion? I think y'all done a great job on this.
There's a lot of work went into that, just bringing in the demographics for each school, what's gonna be best suited for each, so.
Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, if you show up by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Okay, Dr. Young.
Next is you guys.
Executive session. No, building, yeah, that's right. Okay, do I have a motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matter? Ms. Ellison, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wilson, all of those in favor, if you show up by the uplifted hand. That is unanimous. We'll now consider ourselves going to executive session. I don't think we'll do the wrong. Trying to get in here. There you go. Mhm. I'd like to report there was no action taken during, executive session.
Ms. Oden, we do have, a couple of recommendations. I'll turn it back over to Ms. Thomason.
Yes, so we have two teacher recommendations that should be in front of you, as we do not have, any resignations, retirements, or administrator recommendations at this time. I would ask that you would approve those so we can be in good shape as our students start Tuesday.
For Ms. Thompson's recommendation that we approve the personnel items, do I have a motion? Ms. Thompson, do I have a second? Mr. Wilson, ready to vote, all those in favor, please vote by the uplifted hand, and that is unanimous. And our next item is to adjourn, do I have a motion? Ms. Olson, do I have a second? Ms. Burgess, all those in favor, please stand, and thank you.